Huntsville, Alabama. You know we've got space camp and rockets and government contractors, but did you know we have one kick-ass music scene that doesn't get near enough attention? Well, that's about to change. Welcome to Uprising, a podcast about the people that make Huntsville's music scene so cool. Hosted by me, Bill Fowler, Huntsville native and lifelong musician. So strap on that guitar, flip on that amp, and crank it all the way up. You've just joined the Uprising.
So I'm in the car with my kids, and I turn this on. I'm like, everybody's shut up. And they're like, oh my God, Dad, what is this? Shut up. And they're like, change it. We want Arby's to I just love this. I just really love this. And so when you said, when I knew you were doing stuff, I knew you were a musician. We talked about this, and I just didn't know when you said, "Hey, I have some stuff out," or you put this out on Facebook, and I caught it because I think you either tagged me or I just saw it on the feed.
Yeah.
You make certain assumptions about the kind of music you're gonna hit based on who you know. Anyway, that song is called Before 23, and this is Hugh Lindsey, and that is Lost Boys, and that is something that you need to go, just stop this video and go get that playlist, get that. I'm so sorry. My cat is attacking Hugh's wife. This is just going to be the theme. He's going to just attack you the entire time. So Lost Boys, Spotify, you can just search Lost Boys and it'll come up, and it's an EP, which means it's only it's 5 songs.
5 songs.
5 songs.
Yeah.
And it's probably completely different than what you're listening to right now in all the greatest ways that it's completely different. So as soon as I heard it, and I've known you for a little bit, and as soon as I heard that, I was like, let's get together and talk about that. I have a ton of questions for you. But let's start with how do we know each other? Because we knew each other before any of this took place. You are not completely anonymous to me. A lot of people that I talk to, I've never met before, but you and I knew each other, and how did we know each other?
I think we first met at OTBX, right?
We met at the beer store.
Yeah.
Crazy turn of events. We started not really a Bible study, but like this theological get-together around beer. Or maybe it was a beer get-together around theology. One of those.
It felt more like that to start with.
Yeah, one of those things. And you were there. And so we would have these big round table kind of discussions about, our theological points of view and relevant social issues at the time. And then you reached out to me to talk about the local music scene, and then kind of the rest is kind of where we are now.
Yeah.
So, Lost Boys, tell me what's the story?
Yeah, so Lost Boys has been a thing for 3 years now, I think. Mm-hmm. But we just got to release some music. Yeah. So me and my friend met in California in school, and we both had a passion to do music. And I actually went to him with some of my original material, and he was helping me to kind of structure it and make the song better.
Yeah.
And we did that with no intention to do music together really outside of just him helping with that. But then we were like, hey, that was pretty good, and we kind of went on to another song, which is Trust, which is our oldest song that we have as a band.
Which starts off
this
EP. The EP, right?
The Trust will be the third one on the EP.
Okay. When I see it on Spotify, I see the number of streams.
Because it goes on there based
on
the listens and stuff.
That's just like a cat toy.
I know, it really is.
Yeah.
And so, we His name's Kevin Davis.
He lives in Oklahoma.
He lives in Oklahoma.
Uh-huh.
And the other half of Lost Boys.
Yeah.
And we started on Trust, and we kind of came up with something good. And that's when we were like, maybe we could do this.
Did you present him, like, when you early on, you give him song ideas, like pieces or whatever? Was it the same style that we listen to now, or was it different?
No, it was more, I still didn't really know what I wanted to do then, but I myself have leaned a little more towards singer-songwriter.
Right.
And so...
This is dramatically different than that.
It is. So I actually came to him with this one. It was like just a slow kind of acoustic song, and then it actually changed tempo in the end, and was actually more like a bar chanting kind of song that you would imagine. Like you got your your arm around your brother, and you're like rocking back and forth in a bar. And so I was really just trying to figure out what I wanted to do with music then. But yeah, very different approach.
So I don't want to like spend too much time on that, but you bring a song idea, is Kevin.
Yeah.
And then he would help finish it, but you bring him a singer-songwriter and it comes out sounding much different than that. But I mean, super good. Is that his role? Like you bring like lyrics and a melody, and then he comes in and layers beats and things?
Pretty much, yeah. We've explored a lot having 3 years together.
Sure.
And that's definitely our role at times, where I can bring something to him like Trust, and he adds his influence on it, which then sparks my like interest back into it of like, oh, I didn't know the song could be this, so then I'm interested again in it.
Right.
Excuse me. And it's worked like that, whereas other times he's sent me like instrumentals and beats that he's made and I've written to them, which is a very different thing for someone who's normally sits down with an acoustic guitar and writes.
Yeah.
And we've kind of explored that back and forth, and that's what this EP is us exploring all those concepts of songwriting and figuring out how to mold our influences and our styles together into something that felt cohesive.
And he's in Oklahoma, so for people who may be confused by that, I mean, it's through GarageBand or any number of other software platforms you can use now. You can record your stuff.
Yeah.
Or even just a file on your phone, like a voice, whatever. However you send it in ideas, and he would then work with it and send it back to you, and over time this back and forth becomes, or like Dropbox or whatever you use to like house these files. Yeah,
we use a site called Splice.
That's
a lot.
very common now. People can collaborate. Across.
It's crazy what you can do. Right. Whereas most of this EP we did together. There were some kind of final stuff that we did when we were apart, but this has pretty much been done over our time together.
Yeah. So take me through the early collaboration. Like you're sitting down with your acoustic guitar, which is a singer-songwriter. Like that's the way this starts. It's like the knife and fork of singer-songwriter, like, creation. And then you give it to him, and this guy sends back something that's completely. You're obviously comfortable enough with your own music to be like, okay, well, this isn't anything like I planned, but it's actually cool. How did the relationship grow from you two being so different, but coming together and creating something that you thought was special?
Being a singer-songwriter, I actually like so many different genres of music. So I think I just wanted to do something that sounded cool and different, and I was really inexperienced at that time with producing. So when he came back, I mean, when we first started working on Trust, he just added that guitar part.
Yeah.
I sent him like I don't remember, I think we sat down actually together in his house, and I just played it, and I think he came up with that just on the spot, like first or second time listening through.
Right.
He may correct me if I'm wrong, it could have happened a little bit differently now, but I just remember thinking, this is awesome. Like, this is such an amazing addition to the song.
Right.
And then, that's kind of how it's been since then. If I send him something, he'll send me something back, and I mean, he's just a mastermind when it comes to producing and writing stuff in. And I mean, he started after I did producing, and he's like far exceeded me with that kind of stuff.
Well, and I don't want to get too much in the weeds, but that's really very impressive to me is the kind of music that you're probably used to writing, or you were writing before this. The hooks in a song, I mean, like you have a song structure, it's a verse and a bridge and a chorus. I mean, generally the hooks in a singer-songwriter song are vocal.
Yeah.
There's like a sing-songy chorus to kind of bring the song together. And in the music that you're playing, I mean, there are vocal hooks, but like the riff you just mentioned, the guitar part you just mentioned, 90% of the style of music that you're playing is a musical hook.
Yeah.
And so that's something that would be another difference in what you're used to is not giving that away, but being open to, okay, this isn't, a sing-songy kind of, singer-songwriter thing. It's something that's a departure from what I'm used to, but suddenly, like, you have, peanut butter and chocolate, and everybody's thrilled with what the other person's bringing to it.
Right.
Well, man, that's really just very cool. And I think that this style of music, and again, you're talking to someone who I probably, if not double your age, close to it, and I wouldn't say I just discovered this, but this kind of music, like I wouldn't say EDM either. I would say it's. Well, how would you classify it?
I'd actually be interested to know what you would say, because we've spent a lot of time really trying to figure out where we would put our music and what you would play along with our music, like if you're going to listen to another artist. And we really just been trying to ask a lot of people what they.
Well, I was asking my kids that. Well, first of all, we opened with Before 23, and my kids loved it. And I usually tell them who it is after they say they like something. They're like, "This guy's from Huntsville." They're like, "Really?" Like, because nothing good could obviously come out of their neighborhood. But I was asking them who they felt like it sounded like, and they mentioned Chainsmokers, and then 21 Pilots.
Yeah.
It's like it's beat heavy. It's hooky, but it's also vocal, and it doesn't sound like a stream of samples. There's musicianship, associated with this. And I hesitated saying that to you because I hate when people say, "Oh, you sound just like me." Maybe you're like, "Ah, I was trying to sound like me," But I think I'll just say this. I think that when you're struggling to come up with what genre it fits in, that is a humongous victory for a musician.
Yeah.
Because you're not writing to a genre. You're not writing to a label on a Spotify search form. You're writing for you.
Yeah.
And when people like that, they can't, classify it as something. That's actually pretty awesome.
Yeah. And it's one of those things people ask, especially before we had music out. We'd be talking about it.
What do you
people
play?
Are like, well, what kind of genre do you have? And I'm like, I don't want to sound like that person who's trying to be too cool. Like, well, we don't really fit in the genre. We're just kind of doing our own thing.
Yeah.
But it really was because genres are so broad now.
Right. Sure.
And I'm like, I actually just don't know. Like, we got some electronic stuff. We got some pop feel, like for sure, maybe some indie vibe. I don't know, but
I love. And I was going to mention that it's like these songs, while clearly it's the same people that are recording and producing, because you have a very specific style, and there's a common thread of sound, in there. The same instruments are generally used in every song. The styles vary pretty dramatically. It seems to me that they're a beat driven, but again, you've got some elements of singer-songwriter in there, so the vocals are very forward, and then some 3/4 of the song is a beat and a melody.
Yeah.
Which I think is just absolutely wonderful and entertaining. So every song is kind of a new look at a similar set of materials. That sounds really nebulous in art.
No, I mean it makes sense, and it's also because it's come out of our journey of trying to figure out what Lost Boys is, and what, not wanting to be nailed down to a specific thing and trying to recreate that every time, but also, I mean, it's been 3 years now, but we started out and we're like, okay, well, what are we going to do? And we came up with these ideas, and then, we came to our friend, and he advised us to try to create something that's cohesive, because we had all these different song ideas, and some leaned more one way than the other, and this is kind of what we came back with out of all the songs that we've written in those 3 years. And we're like, these are what we want to put together. This is what we feel like, even though they're different, are cohesive. This is how we want to start Lost Boys, is with this body of work.
Well, it's just beautiful. I mean, and I'm not just saying that. I mean, I'm saying that, but you're sitting here because I want to say that. It's, doing this, and you hear from people around town that are like, hey, I just did this, and I want to be on your show, or hey, you should go listen to this person because they're doing important things. I get a lot of that, and not that I'm, literally tens of people are listening to this podcast. It's not like this is a huge deal, but I mean, when someone like me comes and says, I want to talk about all the music that's being played in Huntsville, there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I kind of gravitate towards people who are doing unicorn level stuff. Like, I love singer-songwriter, I love straight rock and roll, I love blues bands, I love all those things. But when you come along from left field and you're playing something that is wholly different than anything else that's going on around here, that's obviously important.
Yeah.
So I want to know. I mean, you told me the history. Like, once you create something that you are proud of, and clearly you're proud of this, and you should be. But once you create this thing, like you're like, now what? Like, there's the internet, and I have every eyeball on the planet that has an internet connection can access my music now. But you're so careful. I don't want to ruin this. So you just put it out there and just like sit back and wait, or like, is there a strategy behind this, or like, how do you? I don't even want to talk about making money. Like, that's like secondary. But how do you display this? Like, how do you frame it and hang it up on a wall and let people come by and see it? How do you do that?
I mean, I think we're learning that right now too, having just put this out. But it is something where, people have known about both of us doing music for a long time. And so people have asked me a lot. I tell them, oh, I'm writing songs, I'm doing this, and they'll want to hear it, or I'll show them a little note or something. So there's been interest. So it's easy to, in a way, to kind of spread that through the people who've been interested. But then there's also this side of, we spent so much time with this, now we want people to see it because we put work into it, but not because of success, but also this is like what our dream is too. So just spreading the word and taking the vulnerability of putting it out there and letting it be judged. And I've been sending it to people. Like, I mean, people I haven't even talked to in years, and just sending it to them, being like, hey, you knew me from here. We just put this out. Let me know what you think. And that's hard sometimes, because it is, like you were saying, anybody can access it, and I guess you open yourself up to any kind of judgment or whatever. And a lot of people aren't going to like it too. But yeah, we've just been spreading the word and getting it out as best as we can.
And do you do? I mean, he lives in Oklahoma, so it's not like you can just put a rig together and go play downtown someplace.
Yeah.
But is this a studio project? It will always be a studio project. Is there a performance element to this? Or?
Definitely not a studio project. So we're in the works of trying to figure out what it's going to look like for us to gig live. Hopefully soon.
But that's a logistical issue. I mean, he's
it is. It's a distance thing, but we've been committed to this for a while now. So it's more so just figuring out when and logistically how we're going to do that. But it is a when thing, not an if. If we do.
See, when I was, in a band and we were trying to do the thing, get signed or whatever the magical term was back then, is we would put our press kit together, and it would have a CD, and it would have a picture of us, and it would have our bios and all this jazz, and it was in the middle envelope, and we sent it everywhere. Well, now there's got to be clearly a different method, for doing that. That was like freaking Pony Express, But so now you can kind of streamline that process. But again, it's like, I just feel like what you've done is so important, and there's so much blood and sweat in that. That you do want to send it far and wide, but if you're going to send it to someone who might actually pick you up and give you some sort of record deal, which would provide income and then just kind of fast track you into the next album and the third album and the fourth album. Like, how do you, I mean, I'm really just like, how do you go about doing that?
I mean, I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
I know that's not a thing that's dead and gone, you know, of just sending your stuff off to labels and,
Right.
and having them recognize you. But like you said, it's totally different time now
Mhm.
with things like Spotify, YouTube, to get recognition as an artist without being
Right.
under a label.
And there's a lot more noise because of the accessibility. There's a lot more good music being thrown at these people, and probably a whole lot more bad music being thrown at those people. So the noise factor is huge.
I think like our goal right now is just to, have this project out there. We're already working on our next stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, we have been way before this even came out.
Right.
The CP came out. But really just seeing what people are enjoying and kind of riding that line of getting some feedback off of this EP that we're going to put into what we do in the future, but also just continuing to create what we like. But point of that being is trying just to build a fan base of people who like our music and have interest in our music, and that's kind of our top priority right now is just, do you like this music?
Yeah.
Great. Like this is what we want is the artist to listener connection, and from there we'll see what happens. Like, we're not just looking to send our stuff off so that some big name
Sure.
can get it, and we'd rather just have real listeners who are following our stuff and find interest in us and help us, and hopefully from there help us to gain more listeners, you know, because the more your stuff, the views go up or the streams go up and stuff like that, the more it gets into algorithms that spreads it wider.
Suggestions and that kind of thing. You like this, you like this.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got, the wheels are turning. Like, would love to see this live. I would love to see that live. However, that gets pulled off, and I think there's a population of people. I mean, with not detracting from anybody who has sat in that seat. There's a lot of traditional music genres being played always. You go to a bar, in Huntsville and see live music, you're going to see a fairly traditional setup. The pieces are going to be very familiar to you, and the music is going to be very familiar to you. Even if it's original music, the deviations are minimal. And we've got some really talented people doing some really cool stuff, but the genres are fairly set. The pillars of music are fairly set, and I think that what you're doing is a pillar of music globally, and clearly. I mean, you watch YouTube videos of DJs playing arenas. One dude with his music, and there's 100,000 people in this place going bananas. Well,
they're all waiting for that drop.
We've never heard of this before here, and so I think that there's an underserved population, even in a city like Huntsville, that you have an audience ready. They just don't know there's anything like this happening, and that's a pretty low gap that we can fill. Just by you being you and producing your music and being from here. I would encourage you. I don't think necessarily you can't have a successful musical career in a place like this. People just don't know you exist.
Right.
And you're already starting on that. That's obviously something you're focused on.
And we've been itching to play for a long time. It's actually our guy who manages us. Couple of years ago, he's like, hit the brakes, because we're talking, how can we play somewhere live? Like, let's get out there, because I used to play live a lot before doing the project and building Lost Boys and stuff with Kevin. So I'm like, I just need that like high of playing live. I need to be out. I love performing places. And he's like, hit the brakes, sit back, come up with some songs, like, let's get them out there. That way when you play a show, people actually have something they can go to and listen to. And that's what's taken 3 years, is coming up with a game plan and a strategy. But we're definitely ready to play shows and have been for a long time. It's just that when. But then, like you said, there's also the side of we want to try to get some gigs here eventually. But it is a different style of music
Sure.
to what people are used to here. And I'm not saying it's not here, because there are bands who are doing a bunch of different stuff here too, and I know that there's a large crowd that's going to really enjoy our music, and there's going to be places that want to play it, but a lot of the scenes too are, you know, looking for bands to come in and play a 2-hour set, you know, that can jam.
Yeah.
And that's not really our style, and we're happy about that. We have nothing against that, but we want to come in because we put the blood, sweat, and tears into this, and we want to be able to play somewhere where people might just listen, you know.
Right. Yeah. No, it's really interesting, and Huntsville's going through this metamorphosis now to be a music scene. I mean, there is a music scene here, but and that I think we're all interested in cultivating. There's a transition that takes place between what would be a small city's music scene, where really the venues dominate, where the venues decide. It's almost like network TV. The venues decide what you're going to listen to. Yeah. Because the venues want bands that play music that people are going to want to come see. So there's a power in small town venues where they're like, well, we're going to get this cover band to play. This 80s cover band is coming in, and the place is going to be packed. We're going to sell a ton of, Cosmos, because that's what everybody wants to listen to. And then you walk in and you're an artist and you're a working musician in the town, and they're like, you're not going to bring people here.
Right, yeah.
You know, their assumption is that your original music is not going to bring people in. And that actually may be true.
Yeah, no, the thing is, it is true for a lot of places. Yeah.
So if you were, you're going to get the cover bands that play on the Fridays and Saturdays, and then you may get a Sunday night, or you may get a Monday, and they're just going to see how it goes. Or if you have a passionate owner of a club, they may give you a shot and let you open for a band that's coming in on a Friday and Saturday. So that transition, I think, is taking place. And the venue owners in town are warming up to original music and are more willing, I think, to give stage time to people who are trying to get themselves established. And that's a fairly new kind of thing. And I think it's because what's happening with the city of Huntsville is that suddenly we decide, hey, we're going to focus on music for a while. And now you see it just completely blossom.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just, I mean, what's good about this is there just aren't that many cover bands that are occupying those stages. And so there's tons of music being made, and we're starting to, I think, get used to the idea that I might want to go sit at a bar and drink a beer and listen to something I've never heard before.
Right, yeah. It's like they're starting to become a place for all different styles, whether you're a cover band, because there's nothing, like, that's great.
Yeah.
There's always a place for that. Everybody wants to go.
There is nothing more fun than being half drunk at a cover band party.
Right.
I mean, that is really fun. But does it help? Does it feed the soul?
Right.
Not necessarily, but it does. It is a good time, and that's what most venues have really been after. Is do I want to sell 150,000 Coors Lights tonight, or do I want to feed the culture of the city's music scene?
Right.
They want to sell a whole ton of beer,
and they want their business to thrive, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like you said, there is starting to be something as people are starting to invest more in music in this city.
Yeah.
It's starting to open the doors for different venues to host different artists, which is great, so that you can kind of go and get what you're looking for that night.
Well, I think the fact that you're from here, and that cat it just plays with trouble. He just wants to play with fire. We may make some funny cat videos if he actually catches on fire. Let's hope that doesn't happen.
I'll be chasing him down, putting him out.
The fact that you're here and you're staying here is a testament to where the music scene is right now. I mean, I'm not sure that 2 years ago that you would have been doing this and felt like that you could stay here.
Yeah.
Which is a huge freaking win, I think, for all of us.
Yeah, and I've even been talking to Kevin as we've discussed. The potential of playing, here in the future. Mm-hmm. And he's even been messaging me back like, make the trip to Huntsville. Like, let's play there. Let's do some shows in Huntsville. And he lives close to Tulsa. Mm-hmm. The town he lives in is pretty small. There's not, really many places for a band like us to play. Mm-hmm. But he has Tulsa close by. But even him coming to visit here has recognized that the music scene here is on its way up.
That's
you
great.
know? And already, it's not just starting. Like,
Yeah, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Because we just talk to each other. Like, hey, it seems like the music scene's really picking up. And you're like, we're from here. We see this every single day. We have somebody
come in
outside. Yeah. No, that's really encouraging.
Yeah, so he's really excited about coming here and us getting to play some shows.
Yeah.
Whenever that happens.
Well, I think you're going to get, you put out an EP that has a handful of songs that are really not only just good, but well crafted and really well put together, and the songs live together really well. I mean, the whole thing is just so well done that there's only so many times that people can listen to this music and not want something new, and not want something else, and want to know you, want to see you, want to read about you, where you're from, and I mean, you're going to have fans. That's what a fan is. And so there's going to be some pressure. I'm going to go ahead and start it. Like, I want to hear what the next song is. I want to hear the next thing. Because I assume these are songs that you've labored over for such a long period of time. You just really want to put those aside and just do anything else. Like, you've been coloring with these 5 crayons, for like 3 years, and you're like, give me anything, and let's do anything different.
It's hard to want to play our songs on Spotify right now because one, it's like celebrating that they're out. It's like, yeah, I want to listen to this because I can listen to it on Spotify now.
Right.
But then it's also like, I've listened to this song for so many hours.
Oh my God. And on top of that, like, who was I talking to? Somebody we were talking to here about like the band Journey, who has played Don't Stop Believing for, I don't know, 100 million times. And they just want to, jump off the stage, but that's what everybody wants to hear. So at some point you're going to play a live show and everybody's going to be like yelling out songs that you're so freaking tired of. But to them they're brand new, and to you it's been a 3-year staring yourself in the mirror.
And I am excited about that because it's not.
Well, that will make it new, right?
Yeah, because it will make it new. And the thing is, we've spent a lot of time with these songs, and we've spent a lot of times with the songs that you guys haven't heard yet. Too, that aren't out yet, that we're working on, that we've already spent a ton of time with.
Yeah.
But there's songs that, no matter the simplicity of the lyrics or the musical arrangement, they're really close to our heart. Mm-hmm. And they came from a deep place inside of us.
Yeah.
And I think with that, sometimes it might not be the thing we want to listen to right then, but we haven't gotten tired of them.
Yeah. That's good.
And it's like, we can listen back to our music and be influenced by it in a good way, which feels odd to say because you're talking about your own music, but we can listen back to it and be like, man, I remember that. Like, I remember when I wrote this or when we came up with that part, and like, that feels special to me, and it makes this song, even though it's the 10,000 time I've listened to it, it still has that special feeling because it takes me back to that moment.
Well, it's a heck of an accomplishment, and I can't think of any more great things to say about it. I would just encourage, everybody who's watching the video, and I'll be sure to post more about it on my social media stuff because it really is really good. I'm really excited that you did this, and I'm really excited, when someone that outside of the music scene or whatever says that that they've done something, or with someone who who's an artist and they want you to experience their art, you just cross your fingers and hope it's awesome so you don't hurt anybody's feelings or but I was so over the top impressed, and we'll still be listening to this. And again, in my own life, the bar of good music is my children, and they love your stuff, which is huge, which is really huge, quite an accomplishment. It's really difficult to impress today's youth.
I'm glad they stuck around for before 23 because we knew when we put that intro in there.
Cool.
It's so long though.
No, it's okay.
But we wanted that. We wanted people, because that song for us was. It wasn't about necessarily holding people's interest. It was about the people who would wait and get through it and listen to it.
It builds a tension that works with the rest of the song. It builds a tension that works with the theme of the song. Yeah. I mean, man, that's just genius. Even if you didn't intend it, I'm gonna call it.
Well, I'm glad they stuck around for it. And
I mean,
especially started the EP off that way.
I love them, but they're really terrible people when it comes to music. I mean, they're so judgy. But yeah, we love your stuff. Man, I really thank you for driving here and being here, coming out to Uprising headquarters and dealing with my cat.
made it the best.
Yeah. Anyway, I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Your stuff is so good, and go listen
you so much.
to Lost Boys on Spotify like right now. You'll be impressed, promise. Man, thank you. And you're going to be playing out soon, like at some point, and I'm going to be there with my kids. I'll sneak them in if it's not appropriate. We'll come see you. Thanks a bunch. Kevin in Oklahoma.
Yep.
Kevin,
Kevin
you should be sitting right here, man. We'll get you on our present someday. Thanks a bunch. All right, brother. Thank you.